Ayan, we're recording. So, okay, so hi guys. Welcome again to another episode of Arcana Coffee. And today we are going to discuss roasting. Together with our guest speakers, we have, of course, our OG master Lyndon from Crescendo Coffee and our new guest speaker, a roaster as well, Mr. Bryant T from the Fat Seed. So, okay. And yeah, we can start, guys. First, introduce yourself muna para solid. Kindly pin your videos to Lyndon or Bryant. Pero we can do the multiple views naman para we can see who's talking. So yeah, I think yeah, we should start now. Let's start. All good, all good.
Okay, so we can start.
Go, go, go,
Just
master. Mm.
brief, brief introduction. We're using a Probatino. It's
Mm-hmm.
a 1.2 kilo roaster.
Mm-hmm.
It's a brand from Germany. You hear me, Master?
Yeah, all clear, master.
So we preheated the machine, the roaster. This is a gas type roaster. Company with Probat is over 150 years in existence. So that one of the leading brands in making roasters. To one, they make up to 500 kilo batch
Mm-hmm.
roasters. So I think Ely uses them as well in Neste. But for specialty coffees, there are many roasters that use it worldwide, like the Barn, Square Mile. And with this roaster, it's a cast iron and steel inside the drum. So the beauty of this roaster is it can retain a lot of heat. So it's like a battery of heat.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The important thing is the right charge temperature. So I'll turn over you to Brian. Okay, Brian, yourself.
So, good afternoon, people. My name is Bryant. I started roasting 2 years ago. Basically, after Lyndon here,
Mm-hmm.
is my mentor. He's been teaching me all the way to the very beginning. He's too many hard-headed moments, just like everybody, and we love to experiment. So that's one thing I would like to say about myself. I'm not afraid to do quite retarded things. Even if it doesn't turn out well, you come out always learning. So, here's all. Yeah, already gave you the introduction. I'm not going to talk too much about the I'll talk more about the cafe and our roastery. So here in Kansas City, there's a couple of years before there was not a lot of great coffee places. There's nowhere to really go drink. We always love the food and coffee. But we love the little bit of practice. We went there's things where we played, start something new, just like coffee and foods. But right now, everything's been slowing down in quarantine, and now we're trying to go more, develop more of our roasting style, as long as our online store, which is building sometime later. So yeah, that's it for my plot. I guess we
Yeah,
can move on.
yeah.
Okay, okay. Go, go, go. Mm-hmm.
Today,
Okay,
so
so
here's
what
the
we
good
have here today is a Mount Apo honey process. So as coffee, you'll find more of like a rounded chocolate. When I mean round, it's more of like a mixture of sweet and very slightly sweet. And when you mix it with the chocolate, it creates like a perfect rounding.
Mm-hmm.
great.
You should plus up. Yes.
Okay, great.
So our temperature is still heating this up to Pero we want that start our
Is everything clear?
Yes, pero Master,
Mamaya you can ask questions.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Pwede natin
Yeah.
i-on yung mic dun mismo sa side ni Bryant. Naka-mute yata
Okay.
yung mic niya. Ayan, para mas, yan, there you go.
hello, hello.
Yan, much better, much better. Yan.
All right, brother.
Okay, so,
Yeah, we're almost there.
there you go, mas clear nga.
So, what we're gonna, so may I ask, who are the viewers out there? Are they a lot of masters, a couple of amateurs like me? Eric,
Um,
hello.
it's a diverse member. It's actually most of us are newbies to roasting, and some are really interested on roasting. And also we have, do we have Chris here? No, no, no. Wala pala si Chris. And we have Coach Miko. Coach Miko is a home roaster. Actually, he's going to be our guest for tomorrow's no, part 2 episode. So, yeah.
Oh, nice to meet you guys. So, what were roasting techniques? So to keep it simple, we're going for a pretty much a standard like straight roast. So we start at 160 degrees. We try to keep it nice and tempered with every 30 seconds we're gonna have a 5-degree rate of rise. Most of the time, you would want to, when you're starting to roast, to start with something that you can put your foot on. So that's basically your standardized roast. Uh, I learned that the hard way when I would try all these techniques that I would read up online. And then what would happen is you think that you're getting a good roast, but you don't actually know why you're achieving it because you didn't have a baseline for it.
Mhm.
So I always suggest to all the new roasters out there, find one. It doesn't need to be too specific, but you can just find a roast that's easy for you to do and easy for you to understand. That kind of results in pretty decent coffee, and you repeat that in everything. That'll be your baseline. Of course, there's other more standardized systems, but I guess it will also vary from roaster to roaster. Okay. So, okay, we're about to start. We're already here at 161 to 160 degrees. I'm going to drop the beans in and keep the power at 2. Note that the power difference will always change depending on the machine. All right? 3, 2, 1, start. So now to all the new roasters out there, right now when you drop the beans, it really depends on the kind of different processes you have for the right charge temp you're going to choose. It also depends on the kind of roaster. So, for example, ours, we have a double wall cast iron roaster. Cast iron, as we all know it, even in cooking, holds a lot of heat. It retains a lot of heat. So, 160 to 165 degrees is hot for this roaster. In comparison to other roasters, you might need to start a little higher. And this is also a 1 kilogram roaster, so it's really quick to adapt to the temperature around. So for me, it would reach thermal equilibrium or a turning point, usually around 55 seconds to 1 minute, which is about now. It's there. It's now bounced back up.
Mhm.
So now it's on an upward climb. So I'm going to raise the power. So for my standard roast, yeah, like I mentioned a while ago, I like to keep it 10 degrees per minute or 5 degrees every 30 seconds, depending on what you're using. I'm talking in Celsius here. Uh, so now we're in the drying phase.
Okay.
So unfortunately, you can show, pwede mo ilapit Lyndon.
Ayan, let me just spin Lyndon's camera so that you guys can see. There you go. Yan. Solid ng Probat.
So there.
Mhm.
Oh, pantay talaga siya.
Grabe, grabe.
So another thing, the nice thing about using first some equipment is it makes it there's a lot of margin for error. But don't take that from me, you know. Uh, of course, if you start with a low entry point, it's kind of like learning from a manual car, so it can come out even better experience. But
Mm-hmm.
you might run across some difficulties in not knowing where the imperfections lie. Is it your fault or is it the machine's fault? It's pretty tough. Or is it the beam's fault? So you have to account for too many variables. The better you invest on your equipment, the better it is if you can control the number of variables you have when you're starting the road. That was my difficulty even if we're using a probat. It's just the sheer number of variables
Mm-hmm.
that, uh, that goes into roasting coffee.
Okay. Brian, sorry to cut you off. Hi. We have a question from Brian as well. What was the temperature again? Was it 160 degrees Celsius before you start?
160, 100,
160, correct.
yes, before I start.
And
This is a 500-gram load.
okay,
Sorry, I forgot to mention.
it's okay, no worries.
So we're in the training 130. We're just in the right time to have the time for coffee. We need coffee per kilo.
Okay, and
Okay,
yeah, go
yes.
ahead, Brian. Mhm.
So yellowing also, I'd like to say will also vary from coffee to coffee. If you get your green beans, and for example, we have like I think wet called Sumatra, and it will come out way yellower. Your yellowing is basically color brown. So sometimes you want to be able to also get to know all of your coffees rather than just rely purely on like this is yellow, this is brown, you know. So each coffee has their own identity. Each coffee has their own color, and you kind of just have to experiment about it.
Mhm.
Roasting is mostly it's a science, but it's your own personal science between sensory and experience and it's a trial and error thing. It really is. Okay, so well, yeah. So you're not. So usually you will notice mistakes if you went too fast at the start. If you're already in this almost middle of yellow and brown and it still smells excessively wet, you probably went too fast.
Mhm.
Uh, Sometimes we're excited to always make that light roast coffee, then we just heat everything up, and then everything is basically raw in the inside. So we want to avoid that. Especially in standard roads like this, you want it to be able to kind of highlight the bean as well as the roasting that creates the Maillard reaction. So you combine those together. It should be more of a standard rounded coffee compared to the more aggressive taste that you're going to take in the lighter or the darker side.
Okay. Yeah, we have another question, Lyndon and Bryant. With regards to the taste notes, ito question ni si to.
The
Hi.
taste notes of the
Mhm.
coffee.
Yeah. She just want to
Yeah,
know
the
if
taste
yeah. Go ahead, Lyndon. Mm-hmm.
taste notes we normally after the first before development, paper development. So there we can check and smell the prior, if it's cracked or not. We can also look at the color, too light, some too dark. So it's knowing the blue, and also we try to smell if there's some effects or vegetable taste or smell. Oh,
Okay, so to answer also what Lyndon mentioned, for example, we have the Mount Apple coffee. I usually want this coffee to crack around the 8 minute 45 to 9 minute 60 area. So whatever, we usually want to develop it for a minute and 30. So what I find, for example, in this coffee, if I drop it to something and it's 30, you get more of like those acidic, fruity taste. But however, a lot of people can sometimes not be very welcoming to that flavor. So if you want to highlight more of like the Maillard reaction, which is more the sugar browning, the chocolatey flavors, you will go towards like the 2 minutes 30 zone. And if you really want to go towards like dark and heavy full body, you can go a little further all the way until second crack. But for this one, we're going to try to hit it at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. We get everything, like a little bit in between those. So for the flavor, you're gonna probably find some brown sugar and caramel. You're gonna find some almost muscovado as called sugar because coffee is still always going to be slightly vegetal, and muscovado falls under the more vegetal flavors in terms of the different kinds of sugars and honey. Yes, honey.
Nice, nice.
So we're in that pretty crucial point. We're already at like 170 degrees at 8 minutes. We're in a pretty good zone here. The rate of rise has definitely decreased compared to the from the beginning and then somewhere in the center. So around the 180 degree to 185-degree zone, we will hear the first crack. This crack's a bit loud, so I'm quite sure the camera will be able to hear it. So we're almost there. Now, I observe also that even for now, me being experienced with the coffee, sometimes it slows down a little and probably 2 to 3 degrees off. And this is where you have to, as a roaster, an experience to know to set certain milestones in your time and your temperature. So you know when you're lacking somewhere and if you need to hurry up or slow down. Talking too much. Uh, oh yeah, like, rule number one: don't talk too much. But for a video, we're gonna talk. If you talk, you're gonna screw up your roast. Rule number two: remember not to talk too much.
Yeah.
Okay, first first part, just minutes and 15 seconds. One, two, four. Bryant. So for now, I'm not going to be talking so much because this is the moment you have to like really concentrate on the little scents that you get from the coffee because these are going to be like your the parts you're going to have to remember. And right now at the end, that this is the smell that you smelled when you wanted to drop the coffee.
Mhm.
At what temperature did you smell it? At what time? Those are basically yung código mo for how to be able to achieve the consistent taste for your coffee.
Okay. Okay, so we have a lot of questions here. I think siguro after the roasting na lang para we could more focus on the questions. Yep. Welcome, Brian. Yep. So medyo crucial nga yung part na yan, no? So you have to smell it from time to time.
So I already noticed that there's a smell that for me is one of the markers. It almost smells like a dark chocolate marshmallow scent. So that's usually within that range. I usually drop this coffee within 20 seconds. That's how we're pretty near. That was really put it at around the 2 minute zone of development time. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Nice.
So you have a nice medium roast here. Basically, this kind of coffee would be welcoming to even those who are new.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of drinking like specialty coffee or drinking pour overs, or people who have always just been drinking milk or dark roast their whole life. This is a good entry level item. You want to introduce your grandparents to coffee or your parents who always drink dark. This is a safe choice. A lot of local beans do highlight like more chocolatey profiles. So I do encourage them.
Mhm.
And as long as you roast it like this, you're on the safe side. You know, at least with them. Okay, so the coffee is just chilling out now.
Nice.
Let it cool off so we can ask the question.
Okay, okay. Question and answer portion muna tayo, guys. I think Lyndon can read it for Bryant. Lyndon, can you see the questions sa chat box?
Yeah, okay. Let's start. So, alam na natin the coffee is Mount Omani,
Yeah. Mhm.
500 grams and 165 charge. Right? 60. 160. Next temperature question is
Let's start first with Sheena's question. Um also Master, can you turn on your microphone? Master Lyndon, naka-mute.
sorry.
Yan para mas clear.
It's
Yan.
echoing.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, first question from Sheena. What's the best type daw for roast for each type? For
Sorry. Can you repeat it?
yan, hello. Okay na? Clear,
Yeah.
clear.
Can you?
Okay, game. Ayan, clear. Okay, one more question from Sheena. What's the best type of roast for each type of coffee bean? Let's say we'll go first with Arabica. Is there a specific
Arabica.
type of roast
Okay,
for Arabica or any roast type will do?
so this is a very loaded question.
Mm-hmm.
It depends also on what kind of bean you're getting. So I guess the base point is bitter content. You have process, and then you have the flavor notes that you get. If you want to be really simple with it, where your green beans, you can just ask what flavor profile does the coffee have. And usually where you buy your green beans, they would have a suggestion for the roast. That's what I do, especially when I buy green beans to avoid all the spin error because we don't have a lot of time and a lot of investment. But you might just want to ask actually from this certain bean from this farm in this process, what is the best way to roast it to bring out these certain flavors. At least for Arabica, there's a lot of acidic compounds in the coffee that is a pretty nice and unique taste. But it can also be pretty awful if you don't roast it properly or
Mm-hmm.
undercook it, or you can kill all the taste and basically it won't be the extra premium paying for an Arabica bean. You just roast it all the way till something too dark.
Mm-hmm.
So next, uh, Iberica. So to everyone, Barako, I think that's supposedly pure Iberica. Barako mix of Iberica. Uh, real Liberica is Liberica, and only a few in the city. It has quite a tamarind and jackfruit profile. So contrary to also what people like to say that Berica beans are very rich, dark, and chocolatey, that is not really the case. You can probably make most heavy-bodied coffees turn out with that flavor. So Liberica can be quite tricky. There's not a lot of research done into it. That's why if us as roasters, we're very excited every time we get our hands on it. Unfortunately, sometimes they come out really dirty, meaning they're not sorted properly. So it actually makes it even more difficult for us
Mm-hmm.
as a roaster to roast the coffee. But when you do roast them properly, expect like what I got before was like chocolate mango, uh, fruity, jackfruit. Yeah, you have a very pungent fruit taste.
Mm-hmm.
If you roast it medium to medium dark, I would suggest it's a little too sour, even for me, to roast it at even medium. The acidic compounds are really, really medium dark, it can survive it because there's so much acetic. I think it's called acetic acid. Yeah, that can still be developed. And even if you burn it a little bit, it should still be there, and it should basically harmonize better with the rest of the flavor. Next is Excelsa. Uh, yeah, very similar to Liberica, probably less. Probably this is what you're looking for when you're thinking of Barako coffee. Most of the time, the taste of Excelsa, it's just fruity without the tamarind taste, much as Liberica. So if, for example, you want to sell people Barako coffee, I would highly suggest putting more Excelsa and then more Robusta to give it the punch of caffeine. For example, uh, that that should they're not too far away from each other. The more difficulty is finding clean ones. Uh, if you ask around in the coffee industry and ask enough, uh, you will find sources that will provide you pretty clean Excelsa or not Iberica, but Excelsa, there's a higher chance that you find clean ones. Uh, Whatever you do when you're on Facebook, don't click buy on the first thing you see.
Hmm.
That's my best advice.
Correct, correct, correct.
Don't do it.
Hmm.
Ask around. Ask your friends, ask the roasters, ask everyone on the channel, but clearly we're now a community.
Mhm.
Look out for each other. So lastly, we have Robusta. I would like to say it also varies. I've been working with high altitude Robusta here. Uh, yeah, Bukidnon, 1,000 muscle. So it's a little bit different from your usual Robusta.
Mhm.
But more or less, I like to do it low and slow. It really depends. For example, the Robusta I have has a strong corn base, corn base, which is what you'll find in a lot of Robusta coffees also. It also tastes like tobacco or nicotine. So some people are not in an espresso, it's not very good. In a pour over, you wouldn't mind too much.
Mhm.
But if you're hitting it in an espresso machine, it's something that has a very high coffee ratio. The corn can be a little intensive. So you want to kill that. Just slow down the roast. Keep it to you can go like 200 degrees above. It's okay, no problem. You can hit 2.5, 2 minutes 45 seconds, 3 minutes, 3 minutes 15 seconds. You still be within the good range of a good robusta coffee.
Nice. Very well said. Okay. And yeah, next yung kay Brian. Medyo three questions yung kay Brian. First question ni Brian, do you believe in soaking the beans at the start of
Oh
the
God.
roast?
Okay,
Is it necessary
where's the
to
funny
soak?
part in between?
uh,
So I got really into that. I was mentioning at the start of the stream that I would always try experiments, and my first experiment that I really forced was soaking all my coffee. So a few things that I learned about it. The first time I hit an Ethiopian coffee, and it tasted amazing. In fact, we couldn't make it taste good until we soaked it. So what happened with me is I soaked everything because I thought that was the magic solution for everything. It turns out the soaking does have a negative side. Sometimes the power does go away, so it's kind of like you need to be coffee. So expect some of the flavors to be quite muted. You can bring out because what happens is you expose it to really high temperature and then without fire anymore, right? So it doesn't get any hotter. So it's just really the conduction of the because they're not going to use any airflow as much as possible. Also, so it's really this conduction and the ambient is going to force the acetic acid to convert into malic acid. I think that's so. Yes, it can take a bit long, and it's a really tough centimeter where it goes. Like for me, when I did my Ethiopian beans, minute to 15 seconds of soaking is be more than you can bake your beans. So, and it doesn't work for everything. If you soak other things, especially want to highlight full body because of the coffee, I would highly suggest don't soak. So after getting Masters, not so much.
Okay.
To me, oh my goodness, artisan. I wish it. Meantime, I do on it. So all of the time, I do love everything to get stuff at the same time. Uh, my best advice for people, if you don't have artisans, because you don't have a probe or your there's a little bit more of like the old-fashioned style, like have someone with you, it will help you. Someone will log, and then someone will use the sensory to do the rest. Uh, just doing it, using artisans is actually a very good thing. You get exact figures and you get to see the whole picture. I so admire people who can understand very well with all the ROR. But then here's the thing, sensory is very important. I think at the end of the day, it's one of the skills that I'm very far from learning. Master Lyndon, di ba? Ako hanggang tagat ng coffee bean. Everything from sniffing the coffee,
Hmm.
the bean, biting the green bean when it's raw, even biting it after it's freshly roasted, it kind of gets bored with the feel of how the coffee is. So when I have the fun with the kind of to put probe in everything, I would because yeah, I feel let the warranty expire. Yeah, yeah. It will come to the point to put the probe in it, and then I will learn from there. But in the meantime, I'm enjoying learning kind of like the old school blindfolded monk kind of way
Hmm.
of doing it. It making milestones and understanding your coffee. It really makes you focus on the coffee. I guess yeah, yeah, the artisan is the brain. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
Okay.
what's next? One more from Brian. Do you believe in declining rate of rice?
Declining rate of price. I believe master is better at answering this. I experiment with that. Declining. I do that on one coffee, but other coffee like honey, and wash, natural, and not always subscribe to that. And also experiment and always just try one technique, but with other techniques. So that way you know it works. And timing are just always just follow it. So the most important is the right search technique and the right power for you first try. That's the most important thing. You sometimes just decline your rate of price. There's no power enough to get just one. You have to be careful with that.
Okay.
Experiment.
Audio is a bit
What
choppy, but um, Master, let me can you ay nakamute ka pala ulit. Master Lyndon, sorry, sorry. Oh, nakamute.
Okay,
Oh, there you go. I'm sorry.
sorry.
Ayan, yeah, mas clear, mas clear, mas clear. Okay, one more from the start. From the start, from the start.
About declining, sure, declining rate of price.
Yes, yes, yes. Yan, much better, much better.
Yeah, not all coffee are suited to just follow the decline rate of price. It's always better to have a right start temperature in your coffee. The roaster is heated enough so that the tone of roast develop the flavors of coffee. Some coffee fits on the declining rate of price, like most of the wash coffee. develop some bad chocolate taste or brownness in the they're maybe not well processed. You need to so that's my advice. Don't try to make a fast roast, slow roast, longer roast. The thing is you don't do the defects. If you avoid the defects, then it's better. Of course, there's some like bake or scorching or cooking. Don't be afraid to experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Then every coffee are different. So sometimes the natural have to treat it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like declining ROI is okay, but you have to. That's why you need to cup it. The next day you have to cup it.
I see.
So if you do the declining, it's okay. Or maybe you do the declining but become big because the power was low. Because you
Mm-hmm.
just decline the price. So you doesn't also mean that declining rate of price you lessen and lessen the power. Sometimes you need power on some coffee that are high density or their size coffee and just purely following the decline. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I do that. I subscribe to that. I'm not limited to that. As a
Mm-hmm.
roaster, you should not be limited to that.
Okay. So, wait lang ah. Okay. Okay, gets ko na. So, to avoid feedback siguro mga masters, if Master Bryant's going to talk, I'm gonna mute you, Master Lyndon na, para to avoid feedback.
Sure.
Then, yeah, from the meantime, minute ko si Bryant para mas clear yung side ni Lyndon. Okay, so,
Okay.
yeah,
Sorry
move,
about
yeah, it's okay, no worries. Moving on, so I think Master Lyndon, you can answer this question from Brian again. Do you experience the temperature spiking up after the drying? Yan, a question from Brian.
I in my I don't use the Probat or in a Bella or
Mm-hmm.
in other roaster. I have tried. So it's the question to Brian is what temperature that says the drying ends. Maybe he can reply because it can be uh, he can be that his airflow is too low,
Mm-hmm.
or then during drying up he opens the airflow so that there's a rush of air and hot air. Hot, there's a strong hot ambient temperature already inside the drum. So when you open the airflow,
Mm-hmm.
the bin temper probe might detect. But that's true. That I have seen it only once, but because uh, some you are new into roasting,
Mm-hmm.
don't always close too much your airflow.
Mm-hmm.
It's better to have a little bit of airflow. I mean, like the Pova, don't close the airflow 100%, or else the gas will shut off. But there are roasters like made in China, you
Mm-hmm.
can shut off the airflow at the exhaust. But I suggest you have at least 10 or 15%.
Mm-hmm.
So, but once you open it like up to 50%, then maybe there's a spike. Maybe, I'm not sure. Or maybe it's just a bleach in their artisan app. I mean, maybe your laptop is charged on the power charger, so it's not good. So they also advise to take off the charger
Mm-hmm.
of the laptop. You're recording with the artisan.
Ako, I have a question, Masters, no? Let's talk about caffeine. So, which has more caffeine level? A light roast, medium roast, Or how does roast affects caffeine level? Like, which has more caffeine, master? Ito yung number one question eh. Mm.
The caffeine level will be a little bit more when it's lighter.
Mm-hmm.
If it's darker, I feel the caffeine is lesser a bit, but not too much. Kontra ba?
Ano yung kontra dyan? Sige, unmute yourself, Master Bryant. Go. Then let me mute Yan, go ahead. Okay. Yan, okay. Oh,
Ayun.
good.
So,
Okay. Hmm.
the other school of thought about it is the caffeine by weight of coffee you consume. For example, we know that the darker the roast, the lighter the weight of the coffee.
Mm-hmm.
So it turns out when you have 1 cup, for example, of coffee, where you have 20 beans of light roast, when you drink a dark roast, you're drinking 25 beans of coffee. So you end up actually getting more caffeine according to what a couple of articles that I've read about it, which makes sense because from personal experience, when I drink lighter roast coffee, I don't get as wired. I don't know why, but it's so as much as I'd like to believe when they say lighter roast should create more caffeine. I think the answer there is, for example, the amount of caffeine you can get from a cup of cream.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you'll get more caffeine. But the amount of caffeine you'll actually get from a cup of coffee, because it's always by grammage and not by bean count, you'll actually get more caffeine from a darker roast. Unless they burn it, I think, all the way, and I believe that might actually remove it. But if you're talking about the cook and caffeine, uh, for example, cold brew should give you the most caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
Cold brew, so it doesn't incorporate any more cooking afterwards. So, in my opinion, opposite to it, but the darker one should have more caffeine
Mm-hmm.
because there's technically more beans inside, something like that. Yeah.
Makes sense, makes sense. Okay, yeah, we have another question from Melvin. Actually, medyo curious din ako. Kasi, yeah, I've seen a lot of shops selling flavored beans. For example, the hazelnut, butterscotch, I think meron din Irish something. So, paano ba yun? Paano ini-infuse yung flavor doon? Like, after roasting na or while roasting? How does the flavors, um, paano nagkaka-flavor dun sa mga beans na yun?
I'll answer that.
Oh, go, master.
For the some other roastery, they apply it, they put it in a dry and just tumble it, I don't know how many minutes, and then the flavor is just actually it's not good for your grinder. So better just put hazel, Turani, or cup of coffee than getting coffee that is way too. When you put that on your grinder, the oil supposed to stick to the burst. And
Mm-hmm.
that is hard to clean. Better just buy a Turani
Correct, correct. Mm-hmm.
syrup and put your hazel, vanilla, or butterscotch. That's easier. But of course, there's some the green bean side when they fry and ferment it, add acer or they add orange
Mm.
peel or cherries, but that's not the good. I hope it answered the question.
Yeah, kasi medyo popular nga yung flavored beans these days, especially sa Facebook. Na I've seen a lot of posts, I've seen a lot of suppliers selling those flavored beans. And ako, for me, tama yung sinabi mo, Master, na better yet just to buy a flavored sauce rather than buying a flavored beans. Para lang mas ma-appreciate natin yung totoong notes ng beans eh. So yeah, good answer though. And who else?
It's just a function with the grinder.
Mm-hmm.
But if you like it, then the brew, sorry for the mute.
Yeah, it's okay, it's
Uh,
okay, it's okay. No worries.
Another question?
Okay, any more questions, guys? Go on. We have 20 people here. That's good.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
airflow during. So if you look, Brian's open the air. So in that way, like, so don't mind it. Just be maybe because if it's like you just turned the knob, do it step by step. Let the roaster.
Ayun, we have question for from Cesar. From starting out, anong masuggestion na roaster? Yeah, what for newbies na who wants to let's say roast sa mga kanilang mga bahay. What's the best roasting machine for newbies? And of course, syempre yung let's start with the cheapest roasting a machine, yet pero yung quality na napoproduce niya is okay. What can you recommend us?
There are three choices. I
Mm.
mean, genie, hot top, and lemon. First, there are pan roasters, but you need the power of your hands.
Yan,
Si
yan. Si
Coach,
Coach Migo,
si Coach
yan.
Miko, praktisado yan. He can do 12 minutes. But some people might be find it tiring.
Mm-hmm.
So just the three, genie, hot top, demo. Maybe the Caldi, but I don't know the price. It's 300 grams.
I think Chris, si Chris yata
Chris,
nakakaldi si Chris eh. Oo, tama, tama. Okay, and yeah, we have a question from Miko. Best time to cup a freshly roasted coffee. Do you at least wait siguro a couple of days before you cup it or right after roasting? What do you guys think?
normally the better is 20 minutes.
If my best suggestion is to stop it. The best is to wait for 1 day. 1 day, at least 1 day,
Mm.
and then stop it every. I would suggest if you're trying to learn the coffee,
Mm-hmm.
stop it every day. But you're gonna get something else and get something different. Especially, we have a lot of people now who are going to find resellers or going to. It's not just selling coffee to the end user. You want to sell it to, let's say, a cold brewer or sell it to a home brewer who would make something for his, by his community.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna sell that coffee. You better bring the coffee on the correct day. For example, on day 5, pinakamasarap na. Diba? I roasted a Sidamo recently, and day 1, I cupped it, and it was tasted like nothing. Because for me, when it comes to fruity coffee, it really takes a while. And I noticed also that the lighter the roast, the longer you need, the more time you need. The
Mm-hmm.
darker the roast, the quicker it is to decant. It's already a very small roast. So I would suggest you get to know your coffee, and if there's a peak time, let's say past 3 days or past 5 days, uh,
Mm-hmm.
that's when go and let your customers try it, or you encourage to sell it, or you try to run a promo so that you can force and move all that product right away.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the best time when they drink it, they're excited, they bought it. When they drink it, they're gonna say this is the best coffee in the world. So as much as possible, the only thing I can say is the darker, the shorter amount of time you need. The lighter, the longer it takes to decant. But that also goes with shelf life.
Okay.
The lighter, the longer the shelf. Darker the roast, the shorter the shelf. It won't get rotten.
So at least wait to let's say 3 to 5 days before consuming it. I think that would be the best, right? Because the gassing might take.
Yeah.
a lot of time, right? So yeah, so the best day to consume your freshly roasted coffee, kindly wait for 3 to 5 days, guys. Or what else? We have one from Jenilyn. How long can you store freshly roasted meats? Will it depends on the type of roast?
If it's a medium roast, medium and medium light roast, you probably get, for example, the best flavors are going to come from 2 weeks to around 5 weeks. You're going to find the best ones there. Uh, Onwards, until towards the end of the second month, you're going to find it slightly fading away, and you might need to up dose. But don't worry, it's not going to be rancid or anything. It really depends on the storage. Maximum shelf life, I would say, would be here. If you're really, you never open it, you don't, if it's away from sunlight, you can keep it for about half a year. But I would suggest there are a couple of telltale signs
Mm-hmm.
that the coffee is getting a little old. Amoy coco crunch siya, it's old. I think that's my closest, no. It's not like oats, like cereal, like coco crunch
Mm,
specifically. It's chocolatey. It's not like coco crunch, your coffee is probably a bit old.
nice.
So,
So yeah, speaking of storage, how do you properly store beans? Like anong pinaka the best container for beans?
okay, lang. Put it in a airtight container. Put it away from the sun. Put it where it's under 28 degrees. So
Mm,
the darkest room in your kitchen should be safe, away from sunlight, away from walls that heat up. Uh, it also depends if the beans are that were you already bought were already old,
mm-hmm.
or just because you stored it well, better it, if it was stored bad at any point in time in between uh, a point in the storage, the bacteria is already inside, and even if you store it properly, it's just going to be developing the bacteria
Mm-hmm.
and the fungus that will destroy your coffee, even if you store it properly. So where you get your coffee, how they bag it, the cleanliness of their operation really will also determine the length of the lifespan of your coffee.
Is it okay but to put your beans sa fridge or not advisable?
You're gonna store it for a very long time. Okay?
Hmm.
Yeah, you're going to lose some good things. So when you make that decision, uh, let's say quality is at a 8, let's say the coffee is a 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
It automatically drops to 7, but
Oh,
it
I
stays
see.
there for a very long time.
I see.
So the moisture goes away, just like most meat. That's why when you buy from a butcher, there is frozen and fresh frozen, right? The same thing here. If you freeze the coffee, it will draw moisture out of the bean also, which can cause it to taste maybe more flat. And it's hard to say. Also, careful with your freezer. If your freezer contains a lot of, if it smells like, how most freezers smell like, it smells like meat, it smells like hot dog, it smells like everything.
Hmm.
Uh, going to taste like that inside your coffee.
Mm.
Also, coffee, the smell goes out. So expect some of your meat to start, your freezer might smell like coffee. So that might also be a tricky thing. Yeah. But if your chiller is at around 5 degrees, you can probably put your coffee there. But be careful na lang with the moisture also of the sweating of opening and closing the door.
Mhm.
That's also another danger. That's why people would highly unadvise it. Because of course, if we have a home freezer, we don't just keep it closed all the way. It will create moisture, it will precipitate, condense, and that's many of reasons why it will ruin your coffee also.
Mhm. I see. Okay. What else? Okay. Oh, Chris, you sold your Caldi na?
Sold
Mhm.
in 1 week, 5 days.
One day only. One day sale.
Ano yan? Upgrade na ba yan?
Nabenta.
Upgrade na yan, Chris?
Upgrade it ITs.
Okay, let me just scroll up. I think there's a question from. Okay, we're done with Jenilyn. Ito, we have one from Za. Yung peak ng coffee ay base po ba sa roasting or variety ng GCBs?
Or on the roast, the storage. I mean, in favor. Store it well. You store it well.
Mhm.
I think the peak of your coffee will be around 2 weeks to 3 weeks to 1 month,
Mhm.
depending. It's lighter, the peak is more later. When it's darker, it might take 2 weeks time. But that's just the observation. But some coffee tastes well when there's 1 month.
Mm.
Like in the roast, like in the coffee shop for espresso,
Mhm.
it tastes well like 21 days, 1 month. So you just have to better start tasting your coffee like 5 days, 7 days. And also because when you open your bag, open, close, there's oxygen coming in.
Mhm.
So also destroys the flavor of the coffee. So my suggestion is have a 250 bag or 500 bag. Only get a portion of it that you can use for the next 3 4 days. And
Mhm.
separate the other one, close. Just open the other one for the next 4.
Mhm.
That's then open again the main bag for your next batch. So
Mhm.
you know, because the peak will not happen. It's just if you close the bag when you bought the beans roasted today, then open it only after 3 weeks, then that's very nice. But if you open the bag after 5 days,
Mhm.
6 days, 7 days, maybe in 2 weeks time you lose all the flavor. Open, close, there's
Okay, a bit choppy. Hello? Nagcha-chop si Master? Ayan, okay, I can hear you.
also roasting natural and there's different approach.
Mhm.
But also don't be confined like, oh, I see one roaster roast it at 8 minutes.
Mhm.
If it's a small batch, maybe the 8 minutes is okay. But if it's a 1 kilo, three
Mhm.
kilo, 5 kilos, then maybe it's better roast it at 10 minutes, 11 minutes. Because there's less coffee in the roaster,
Yeah.
it's easier to be roasted. But
Mhm.
if there's more coffee in the crop, it's better to take a little bit more time, not too long, but you let them develop with the right time.
Yeah.
Just more time. Yeah. Of course, it depends on the coffee. Huh? Some
Mhm.
coffee is better when it's lunch. Some coffee is better mid. Like it's better 8 minutes, better 9 minutes, some better 10 minutes,
Mhm.
some better 11 minutes. Also, you have to know what is the target brewer. It's cold brew, espresso, or pour over. So you need to know what you want to highlight. Finish, berries, floral. But if you want more balance, maybe like it more a little bit more medium in color, a longer development, a
Mhm.
sugar brownie. It's, it's sometimes you make a mistake. I talk to Brian always, and just few 15 seconds you forgot to open the channel already, but it was quick. So, you know, also some customer will not like you lie.
Mhm. Okay. So,
Some customers like
yeah, we have a question from Cesar. Anong bestseller na local
a little
beans?
bit more developed,
Ngayon,
fully
Master. Yeah, medyo nagcha-chop yung audio. Hold on.
sagot ko. If it's a farm, of course, it's always better high elevation and raised beds and shaded grown. The drying is not quick dry, so it's the care of the farmer. So next week there's farmer and Brenda will talk more about it. But in my experience, not necessarily high elevation, but the environment or the weather. Look, Ethiopia is very with temperature. Ethiopia nowadays, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, some of them are better because the world climate is changing.
Okay.
Elevations now.
A bit choppy, Master. Wait lang. Is it me or mabagal lang yung internet ko?
It matters. Farmer, variety, go by the next. So you have to try the beans. Like um, you just don't buy 20 kilos. You just there's something 1 ounce, this 100 grams, 1 kilo, 500 grams. You check it because if you buy a lot, it end up not nice.
Mhm.
That's any other questions?
Yeah, we have one
Aside for
from
the theory.
let's start first with Mariel. Mariel, may question si Mariel. So, some retailers inside the malls displays their beans in open baskets. Oo nga, no? Parang I've seen a lot of, anong shop nga pala to? I forgot the name, pero
Meron yan
yung,
sa internet.
oo,
Correct, correct.
nasa basket lang yung mga beans nila. Ano yun, for display purposes lang ba yun? O yun din talaga yung ginagamit nila?
Aesthetic. It's really aesthetic.
Ah, I see,
Okay.
I see. Mm.
Because everyone wants to be able to smell,
Ah,
feel,
correct,
or
correct. Mm.
touch their product. So that's it. That's the only reason. And I'm not saying that they're bad, and everyone to each their own, diba? And how they want to make their coffee.
Yeah.
Basically, the taste can't get any different from the point of where they roasted it. I don't know if you get what I mean.
Makes sense, makes
Basically,
sense.
hanggang dyan na lang siya.
Mm.
Yeah, hanggang dyan na lang siya. So kahit sumingaw, dyan na lang din. Di ba? So, yeah, something like that.
One more.
Yeah, I also want to add a while ago.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian. Mm-hmm.
I want to add to the last question.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed also, kasi obviously we've all been dabbling in the online seller pages, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that the strongest in terms of local, I've seen, in terms of what people are looking for is Sagada. I have no idea why exactly. I guess it's just the appeal of the area itself.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes Lyndon asked me, why do you want to add El Salvador to your blend? And I tell him, have you seen how long the word is? The word.
Mm-hmm.
So when you put it on the bag, it just looks nice. And no, I know naman na there's a lot of sugar content in it, diba? That it's quite white sugar. It has a very strong white sugar profile. But I was like, no, I want that there. So when they look at my branding, they see a very, very long word. And that entertains people all the time. I don't know why. It just isn't. It's true. Now, for example, there's a coffee, like for example, Burundi.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes very good. But when you look at the word, for some reason, it does not look pleasing to the eye. And I think Sagada is one of those things that just looks pleasing to the eye. It's of course, it's got a long reputation
Mm-hmm.
for other things. Diba?
Yeah,
So,
makes sense. Mm-hmm.
gained a lot of popularity, diba?
Mm-hmm.
People calling their mga products nila Sagada Gold, Sagada something, diba?
Mm-hmm.
Just to spark that marketing push, that the name, diba? That's probably like if you can get your hands on Sagada right now, speaking as more of like a business aspect,
Mm-hmm.
people will just will buy it just because.
Tama, tama.
Okay.
Okay, and what grind size use when cupping? Ano nga, for cupping, anong usual grind size ba? Is it coarse or fine dapat?
Medium course to course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll know if it goes wrong. If you're tasting the ground, then it's so fine. So, basically, something that you know how to do cold drip immersion. That's medium course. Diba?
Mm-hmm.
What else is medium course? French press. You feel it with your fingers naman, di ba? Magaspang siya. Pag
Yeah.
magaspang, kaya na yan eh. Don't get too iffy with what it is exactly. A lot of people naman when they cop, it's not exact yung
Mm-hmm.
grind. And everywhere I go, it seems to be a little different, but they're all within medium course.
Okay, so any more questions, guys, for our masters?
Oh yeah, guys, I have an online page. That's why I'm going to make another shameless plug here. Uh, the fastph.com. We sell our beans there. They're freshly roasted. The best way I want to share to people right now, although you may not be my customer, but you may also have the same vision as me,
Mm-hmm.
I encourage this. We need to encourage and educate the market to drink freshly roasted coffee. I mean, that's why we're all here in this stream right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One master and one aspiring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone also wants to be better at this. Even if you're an amateur, I swear to God, your coffee will still be better than old coffee that
Mm-hmm.
people are drinking. I keep telling people that they're drinking pre-quarantine coffee. I call it that. Like 5 months ago, diba? And probably even older than that. So I encourage everyone to get into roasting, make that nice cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Once people drink freshly roasted coffee, uh, it's hard for them to go back. Uh, you teach them and you educate them. Their tongues get educated even if they didn't understand what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
They just know it's better. Once we achieve that, then we'll help each other as a community. They'll know, oh, this guy has freshly roasted. This person has freshly roasted. They will try all of it at least once. And kahit papano, even if they have a certain favorite, at least you need the sale everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
In at least our side of the industry. There's of course people who will still roast from a commodity side. There's nothing wrong with that. But I highly discourage that at this point. Also, especially with how the market looks like
Mm-hmm.
online, malulunod ka. There's too many. Too many of them.
Mm.
It's so many. It's scary. So do go above it. That's why we're here. We're here to get educated. There is a market that we can all share, and where there's enough to share in that region.
Mm.
And yeah, my pick. By
Nice.
myself.
Okay, again, so that's the Fat Seed. You're on Facebook and Instagram, Master Bryant.
Yeah, the fat seed PH.
Fat
Yes,
Seed
with the
PH. There you
fat
go.
seed
Mm-hmm.
PH.
Okay, yeah, we have one from another question from RD. Do you think it's a good idea to purchase your own roaster for a startup coffee shop? Or it would be costly to do so? Would you recommend it? Or can you read the question, Brian? Can you see it? Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. Would you recommend
Yeah.
it, or
Mm-hmm.
would it be better to have it roasted with someone more skilled and experienced roasted, considering the prices? Okay, so obviously what you're asking is exactly what we did,
Mm.
right? So we had the roaster, we had the cafe, we had the food and everything. Uh, yes, it's a very good image point, but my advice that I can take from it is don't. Obviously, a cafe comes with a lot of things. Let's take away the pandemic, even just
Mm-hmm.
uh, from the topic. A cafe involves food, service, staff, everything in between, standards, rent, everything, all of these things. Now, if you're coming as a sole proprietorship and you're all alone,
Mm-hmm.
it's an absolute mess. Yeah, you're going to be jumping from here and there, and can't concentrate on certain things. Now in the pandemic, I'm able to concentrate on my roasting because everything has slowed down. Not to say, but at least it allows me to focus on something like this. Uh, but in terms of a business, as a whole coffee, I wouldn't recommend it right away. I would suggest you get into roasting. Start by selling things online or to your friends. Uh, you can roast coffee for your friends or your partner.
Mm-hmm.
I would always suggest if you're going to be a roaster and you want cafe, have partners.
Mm-hmm.
You roast, someone takes care of the coffee division, makes the online page, develops the coffee, talks to the people in the industry, the other person handles the package. And then
Nice.
you guys basically work together hand in hand rather than you jumping from every department. It's a mess. So it's not. Because you have to please everybody. At least when you focus on your coffee, you try that you get the focus on the little nitty-gritty details that you don't tell yourself, oh, okay, masarap na yan, but
Mm-hmm.
you can really be critical on yourself because that's the only thing you're doing. So that's why I suggest you can start roasting at home, especially now. Now in the pandemic standpoint, don't open a cafe. I mean, there's nothing. There's no future. Take it
Mm-hmm.
from me. This restaurant behind me used to be so full that I could probably not make this stream now. But now we're down to 10% sales.
Mm-hmm.
We're transparent. I'm going to be transparent about it, right? So I wouldn't advise making a cafe. So do roast at home. Push the coffee to people who want to start their cold brewing business. They want to
Mm-hmm.
start their whatever. You roast for them, send it to them, you ask their opinion. You're probably going to get some criticism here and there, but that's okay. Eventually, you will grow, and then you'll skip the hard part. You'll eventually, with very small consequences. I guess the biggest consequence is you didn't earn a lot from your investment right on the get-go,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll skip the consequence of dealing with real customer complaints fast.
Nice. Very well said.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yan. Okay. Who else? Do we have more questions, guys? Come on. We still have time. Any more questions? Yeah, and don't forget to check Bryant's page out. It's the Fat Seed. There you go.
thank you guys. This is the first time I ever did an online speak, so
Nice,
this
nice.
is a new one.
There
Thank
you
you,
go.
John. Thank you for
Welcome,
contacting
welcome,
us.
Bryant. And are you guys open every day, Bryant?
Yes,
Oh,
we are open. From 10:30 to 6:30 on the weekdays, and then till 8 o'clock on the weekend.
nice. I'll try to drop by next week. Go check
Sige,
your.
that would be great. See
Nice,
you in
nice,
person.
nice. Okay. Yeah. Again, any more questions, guys? Before I'm pretty sure you guys are kind of busy na mga masters yan. And thank you also, Lyndon, for sharing your insights. Our number one Suki guest speaker, Master Lyndon. And also, just to
Vivo
give
Kid.
you Bibo Kid Lyndon. And yeah, just to give you a heads up, we have another episode again tomorrow. We will start by 7 p.m. And our guest speaker will be Coach Miko, a home roaster and a manual roaster as well. Yan. Okay, any more questions, guys? Wala na, wala na. Master Lyndon, uuwi ka pa ba? Or diyan ka na?
Tambay muna. Pa.
Okay, so, uh, and ang ganda nga talaga ng Probat. Correct. Sobrang solid nga yan.
I learned a lot from just talking.
And also our next episode pala We're going to have our local farmers from Kalinga and Davao. It's Sergio Loon and Miss Brenda. They're going to be our guest speakers next week. And our episode will be from farm to cup. So we're going to learn the process, kung paano ba talaga yung when it comes to planting, harvesting, etc. etc. So yeah, that will be our next episode next week. So again, thank you Bryant and Lyndon for this. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for joining.
Bye-bye.
Sige, sige. I know you guys are busy. O go, pack up na kayo dyan. Thank you, Brian. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Lyndon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. So, again, sobrang ganda ng ano, no, Probat, to. Like, sa tingin nyo, guys, magkano siya ngayon? Magkano ang Probat ngayon? 500,000, I think. Yeah, it's very expensive siguro. Hindi ba abot ng million yan, Jimmer? Hindi naman. 1 kilo, 1.2. Wow. Grabe, grabe. Pero ano, good investment talaga. So, no regrets when you buy a Pro Batter roasting machine. Yeah. Pwede ng ano, bumili ng kotse. Let me just open the lights. And, ayun nga. So, yung, best ka. Ay, one more thing. Coach, tomorrow we will start by 7 p.m. Okay lang? Okay lang eh guys, tomorrow 7 p.m. yung stream natin. 7 to 9 or 7 to 10. Okay? Goods na si coach. Yan, there you go. Tomorrow will be ano, manual. And sayang kung meron lang may demonstration ba coach? Ay di mahirap pala mag ano, no? Mag manual while streaming. It's gonna be hard pero mahirap, mahirap. True, true, true. Yeah, pero ano, it's okay. Kahit no demonstration naman tomorrow. Let's just talk about the manual roasting and yung mga pros and cons niya, of course, and the quality. So, yeah. Okay, again, 7 p.m. tayo bukas, 7 to 9. Or kung pwede natin i-extend ng 10 p.m., why not? Para mas mahaba yung discussion natin and at the same time, yung pwede nating ma-share, mas mahaba din. So, medyo off lang yung audio kanina pero bearable naman. Nagcha-chop-chop lang ng onte. I hope nakuha naman natin yung mga importanting parts pero at least they made an effort to do a stream while roasting. So, ayun nga. What's up to 18 people? Hi guys, how are you doing? Nag-coffee na kayo? Still have one. About to brew. Okay, so we still have time. Pwede tayo magkwentuhan muna. Let me just stop the recording.